Lloyd Thompson, Shreveport NAACP president. Mr. Lloyd, how are you this morning? Thank you for joining us.
Well, good this morning. How you doing?
Old and slow myself. How's about you?
Oh, they working me to death, but I keep on moving, making things happen.
Lloyd, you had a big meeting last night, a community meeting. Tell us how that went. Did you hear anything that could help?
Well, last night, the meeting really had been scheduled like 3 weeks prior to the 11 shootings would happen in the city. We really scheduled a meeting after we received so many concerns from the city employees about promotions and harassment and pay raises that we decided to host the town hall meeting, invite the elected officials in to hear the cries of the city employees. Now, they did mention a little bit about the violence going on in the city, in which in 3 to 4 weeks, I'm planning on holding another town hall meeting with the chief of police, with the sheriff, and the DA, and other community leaders to talk about what we can do to go out there in the community and talk to the young folks in the community about the violence. But last night, we were really focused on trying to get some answers for the city employees who feel that they have been injustice treated in the areas of pay raise and harassment and promotion. So that's what the focus of the meeting was last night.
Lloyd, are they getting any attention at all from City Hall? Are they getting any responses?
They feel they're not getting any attention from City Hall. We did have 3 city councilmen showed up. We had about 5 parish commission, but they feel that the administration is not hearing their cry. They've been trying to meet with the mayor, and the mayor is steady not want to meet with them. Said they feel that the chief administrator is not talking to them in a proper manner. He's very disrespected to them, according to them. And I tell folks all I can repeat what these city employees said, not only last night, but what they have said to me in a private conversation, that they feel that they're not getting anything done. And then they even mentioned that if you could put a bulletproof window on second floor, but yet you can't pass out a pay raise to city employees who's been on the job 18 to 19 to 20 years. So we were trying to find some answers. I'm hoping that those questions that will go back to the City Hall. Councilman Bradford, who's the chairman, and the vice chairman, Mr. Flores, was there, and they're planning on addressing these concerns. So we're going to follow up to make sure at least the city employees can get some answers, because, you know, who wants the garbage not picked up on a daily basis? If the garbage workers decide to say, we're not going to pick up garbage for a week, can you imagine this city with all the garbage on the street corners?
Oh, yeah.
So we need to try to figure out how we can help those folks get what they need so they'll be happy employees.
Let's go back to the violence again, because I know you're going to have another meeting about that, and you have to be concerned. What do you attribute? What is happening? Why this rash of shootings and violence?
Well, I think because the young folks are not talking to one another anymore. I remember growing up in a little small country town, but since I've been to Shreveport, I noticed that the young folks just not talk to one another. I remember you have a good street fight, or you have a good fist fight at school, you come back the next day, you become friends. But now it have happened that now that they don't talk to one another. They're pulling guns and just committing the act of violence. And then when it's over, I get those calls from their mother saying, my child is locked up. Is anything you can do to help them? So I think we're going to have to go out there in the street, in the corners, in every community we can, and talk to these young folks and say, look, pulling that gun, and after you done shot somebody, you can't bring that life back. You took a life that you can't give. So we got to find a way to have that conversation with them. And I think it's going to take the whole community, black and white, green and red, or whatever color you want to be, that we're going to have to go out there where they are. We got to go to La Tierra Apartments. We got to go up to the Cherokee Park community, because they're not going to come to us. We got to go to them. So I'm hoping in 3 weeks that to meet with the chief and the sheriff and the DA and community folk, that we can come up with a master plan to stop the violence, regardless what community it is in the city.
Mr. Lloyd, going to play a soundbite for you here. A fellow named Bernie Woods, a Shreveport resident, and then I want you to comment on it, and I have a specific question, but here's the soundbite.
There is a solution for all problems. You just got to find the root cause and be willing to address them. They're not going to get taken care of overnight.
So, Mr. Lloyd, what's the root cause?
The root cause is lack of education, lack of jobs, lack of self-respect, and lack of having good raising within our homes that we used to have when we come up. And that was some of the root cause. But I think the main root cause is education and jobs, and we got to address those on every level.
We were talking about this a couple of days now, as I'm sure that you and everybody in your community is. does it come down in the end to the breakdown of the nuclear family, that education is undervalued, that really, at the end of the day, nobody really goes to church anymore?
No, I think it's nobody goes to church anymore. I think our kids is now being forced out of school. That's why I talked about the concern some years ago when kids get expelled from school in the 12th grade and 11th grade. Those boys don't go back to school. Those boys end up in our criminal justice system. When they get out, they can't find a job. So that forced them to hang out on the street corners, gamble and hustle and rob and do everything they can to survive. Well, we need to figure out a way of how to make sure they stay in school, make sure we educate them, and then let's see if we find them some kind of job that they would know that, hey, we're trying to help you now. If you're going to self-help, we're going to help you. If you're not, we're not. But we got to do something to change your mindset on what they're thinking. That's the part of family. Most of those families are one-home family. Mama doing the best she can. She got 40 kids she got to raise. So she's working 2 jobs. She's not there with little Johnny. So little Johnny takes on the street as a father figure, and then find out that, hey, the father figure he's taking on is the father figure who maybe just got out of prison, on their way to prison. So little Johnny has been following him, and then he becomes a part of that crime family. So we got to figure out a way how to bring the family back together, but we got to demand that cattle offer quality education regardless what part of town you're in and what school you go to.
Pardon me, Mr. Lloyd, but it seems to me that what you just said, and I'm going to repeat it, correct me if I misinterpreted what you said, that the biggest problem is the lack of fathers in the homes, i.e. the illegitimacy rate.
Right. I've definitely said that is a lack of 2 family homes that we used to have when I was coming up. So, well, we can't blame Mama, because Mama doing the best she can do with 4 kids. But we as a community owe it to that child that said, let's find that child some help. Let's see what we can do to help that child. And let's try to make sure that our churches and our neighborhood group and our organizations go in and mentor those boys. I remember being over the big brother and big sister right here in the city. A whole lot of boys come from single-family homes who went on to college because we as mentors and men went out and said, look, don't let you not having a dad in your house be your downfall. We're going to do what we can to help you. We're going to help Mama with you, and we're going to make sure you're successful. And I've seen some successful kids come out of one-family home. I talk about my life all the time, coming from a foster home after 19 years, rolled off and said I wasn't going to make it. But I had that family of a community that said, yeah, you're going to make it. We're going to hold on to you. You might have come from a broken situation, but we're going to put your situation together. I come from a family of a one-family home where my mom had 6 kids and put us in foster care.
Lloyd, we're about to run out of time here. I can't thank you enough for your time this morning. Look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Call me. I'll be glad to do it. Thank you so much.
You bet.